What's up, Homestead homies? It's Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. I'm Doug.
And I'm Stacy.
And today we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about?
We're going to have an off-grid home tour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what she said.
Yeah.
The big questions that we get is people want us to kind of take you around. We have 11 acres and we live off-grid in the Midwest. And a lot of the times we get a request that people kind of want us to take us around the 11 acres and show them our property.
Yeah, because see, you watch stuff on the video and it's like you kind of don't
it's
get
one-dimensional.
Yeah, you don't get that full perspective. So.
Yeah, so we're going to start off here at our cabin. We live in a log home off-grid in the Midwest that I built in 90 days with pretty minimal carpentry skills. I have a couple of videos, I'll link them right here, that we've done about the construction of the cabin. We sourced our own wood from the forest. You can do the same thing wherever you live. All you have to do is get a hold of a sawmill in your area. They know the people that go out and cut trees down. Tell them the type of wood that you're after and they can source it for you and even cut it for you, and just kind of get you going in that direction. This is not a kit. That's another question that we get often, but it's just built the good old ways. We took the wood out, had it sawmilled, and then we put up our log home.
And it's still standing today.
Yeah. So this is where we're starting off right here. It's under 800 square feet. Out in the front, we keep a lot of marigolds, herbs for tinctures and stuff like that.
And that's a work in progress. We're trying. We're gonna do more, and I'm gonna have all wildflowers, good for tinctures. I'm gonna do lots more herbs and things out here, so that when we get older, we don't have to go too far. Everything will be kind of at our disposal. So. Definitely, this is something that I can't wait till we get done, but you want it right away, but we're just working and we have our projects that we're working on every season, every year.
And if you're new to our channel, one of our philosophies that we've tried to teach people is of aging in place. A lot of you are familiar with Paul, who started the Back to Eden garden method. I'm sure most of you have seen his videos, but we also, I don't know if you know, but he has moved away from mulch because it's very labor intensive, and as he gets older and he has health issues, he's not able to keep up with mulching everything. So you guys can go check that out, investigate that for yourself, but that's a fact. So as we get older, our philosophy is we want to make systems and put them in place and build things close to the home so we can age in place gracefully. We can still maintain our lives and do it, with minimal effort. We're still going to get out and do things. We're going to be very active in our old age, but it's inevitable
we'll still be climbing up into our loft.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people ask about that too. All right, so we're going to move on now to the next part of the homestead. The next area that we're standing at is our raised bed Back to Eden garden. One of our other philosophies that we have is that we want to grow in as many mediums as possible, just because you never know what's going to happen to the ground or to the raised beds, so you always have a little bit of a backup for your backup.
Yeah, because we've had years where we've had extreme drought and we've had years with extreme rain, and going right in the dirt did not work for both of those years. So this is something that we know it'll work.
Yeah, and then with the Back to Eden method, if it is a drought or some kind of situation like that, it should be able to retain the moisture. But we do have very, very good soil here. So we're not doing Back to Eden because we live in a rocky area or anything like that. It's basically for low maintenance, for the weeds, and low maintenance, and for moisture in the dry, hot summers in case we don't get any rain. So here we put in some raised beds. We'll link some videos above, right here. And we also have our Back to Eden garden area over there. And then in this area right here, which you'll see coming up in future videos, we're going to be putting in a greenhouse so we can extend our growing season into the late fall and winter, early winter, and so we can get a head start in the spring.
Yep, can't wait. This is our chicken, our poultry area, where in this large house over here, we house our guineas and about 25 to 30 chickens that we have. And then over here, this is on our second house, and then right now this is where the ducks are hanging out. And if you notice, we don't have a fence around here. When we first moved in, we did have a fence, and I want my chickens to be free, to get as much vitamins as they can from all the nuts or the bugs and the seeds and all that around. So we choose to not have them be fenced in anymore. So just for their health and then for the nutrient value of the eggs.
Right, so we open range our chickens. They can go anywhere they want on the whole homestead.
Anywhere.
And they do.
In my yard where I don't want them to be.
And the areas that we don't want them, like the garden area that we showed you, we'll be taking care of that so they won't be able to get in there. And then, but they're beneficial to be everywhere else, and that's how we want them to be.
Yep.
Now we'll go over to the next spot. All right, guys, now we're standing in our apple orchard. Notice again the proximity to the cabin, so we can come outside the front door, grab some apples to eat if we're adding them into an ingredients that we're cooking something, or just to pick and enjoy in the morning or whenever. It's just
or make apple brandy.
Yeah, we just like to have it ease of access as we age in place. Okay, so these this is one thing. If we could give you a tip while we're standing right here in our apple orchard is, as soon as you buy your property, if you're interested in apples and blackberries and blueberries and anything like that,
plums, peaches, anything.
On day one, we recommend that you plant them as soon as possible. We've had these in the ground. This is our third year with them. Third year in the ground. We have not bared any fruit yet. They were like a year old when we got them.
Yeah,
maybe a year or two.
Right.
So we haven't received any fruit from them, but they are growing. They really grew a lot this year. So if we can recommend anything to you, it would be to get your fruit-bearing trees and plants in the ground as soon as possible. All right, now we're standing by our shed. It's a 71-foot-long building, barn, pole barn, outbuilding, whatever you want to call it, by 31 wide.
74, I think.
74 feet long by 31 feet wide. This was the only structure on our property when we bought it, and this is also what we use to collect our rainwater harvesting system is all connected to this, and then is gravity fed down to the log home, which I'll link a video right here, our play series, on how we accomplish that. Inside of here, we keep our buggies that we use. Our horses are also kept inside of here. Our feed for our chickens and our sheep, and also our workspace area where I have a workbench and my tools and stuff like this. So a building like this is pretty much very valuable on the homestead. This area right here, this is our sheep area. We've sectioned off a couple acres on our property. It's kind of a L shape, if you will, to get over to the pond area, and then we have other paddocks that we're going to take you guys to that they're able to get to anytime they want. They have a structure here, and then they also use in the wintertime our area that we're going to be taking you over to, which we're calling the hay barn now. It's an actual structure that we built because we had some alpacas, but now we're using that to store hay for the wintertime, and then we also move the sheep over there for the wintertime for shelter, and because the running water system that we put in place, I put a hydrant in over there, whereas this building right here utilizes rain catchment off of this building into a food grade IBC tote.
All right, so this is our compost area. We have two bins. One is for the current year, and then one is for where it's set for a year. And this is where we compost our human manure. And we put it close to the house, but yet far enough away where we can carry the buckets, and for aging in place that will be good, where it's not too far away from the house.
And we have a couple videos linked right here that talk about our system that we use for disposing of our human waste, and also the benefits of having the human manure composting versus like a septic tank. We talk about the system, how easy to use, and we will tell you real quick in this video, if you're a first-time person looking at our information, that you never ever smell these compost piles or the toilet inside of the home. Never. If you smell it, that means that you don't have enough medium on it, so you need to add sawdust if it's inside the house, or if you smell it out here, you'll need to add more straw or cut grass clippings or whatever you're using out here. But we've never had a problem. We've been 5 years using this system, and we're very much enjoying it.
It's the easiest toilet or bathroom to clean as you could ever imagine.
That's right. So let's move on to the next spot.
This is our pond. It's about 1/10 of an acre, and when we were looking for property, this was, you know, on our must-have list.
Yeah.
We really utilize this a lot. I love our pond. We stocked it when we first got here, so we have bass and bluegill in here, and it's great. So in the hot summers, you can go fishing here. I mean, this has so much potential. It's so beautiful to come out here and just sit and read and you know, the animals come out, you know, you listen to the frogs at night. I mean, we love our pond. Love it.
It's a valuable tool,
Very
again,
valuable.
on the homestead. Basically a homestead must-have, because of all the life and food abundantly that come out of our homestead pond.
Yeah, and then if something would happen, we wouldn't have access to any water or something. I mean, we can always utilize and use the water in there. So this is just, we've used it so much and it's just been wonderful.
Now we'll go on to the next place.
Outbuildings on the homestead are a definite asset, and this one Doug had made for when we first got here for our alpacas, and now it's housing our hay and our straw, and in a little bit when winter comes, it will be housing our sheep. And it's about 35 feet long and about 18 feet wide, and it has just been great.
We mentioned earlier we have 11 acres, and I'm trying to give you guys an idea of how that looks, because a lot of people homestead, they say you need this many acres, more acres, couple acres. We have 11, and it's more than enough for us to do our homesteading on. You can see way back in the back there through the trees, this is a natural creek that we have running through our property, and way back there you can see our barn that we showed you guys earlier, the large one that we do the rainwater harvesting off of. And this is just to give you guys an idea of how much property 11 acres is. Our horses graze down here when we do our grass-fed beef. Our cow grazes down here, and then this goes that way and then up as one big paddock. And then the barn that we showed you a second ago that we are keeping our hay and straw in, that has two separate paddocks, and then there's a paddock around the pond that we showed you. So there's plenty of paddocks to rotate our animals here on the homestead on 11 acres. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try to give you guys like a panoramic type of view from this area going that way to give you an idea of how this 11 acres sets out. Now we're standing in our forest area.
And in the forest area, it's kind of attached to where our sheep are, where their house is up here at our first paddock. And what's nice, as you guys can see back here, it's attached. He has another paddock that goes around to our pond. He left a little gap so that they can get right through, and if they want to, they can go around there and do their free ranging. We love this area out here. I mean, it is very peaceful even to come out here and go for a walk. And the great thing about the paddocks is the sheep have done a fabulous job of clearing all the underbrush and keeping it looking immaculate, kind of like a park.
And inside this area we have the walnut trees, hickories, pin oaks, white oaks,
hedge, and we use a lot of hedge for when we're doing when Doug's doing his fencing, so that's just been great.
They also call it Ozark orange. It's kind of a tree that's native to our area, so it might not be in your area, but that's the post that we use for all of our fencing. It really holds up a long time. They actually say that you'll wear out 2 holes to every 1 post of hedge, so it is a good resource to have on the property.
And it burns really, really hot.
Really
so
hot. It can melt the top of your wood cook stove. It's that hot. It's hotter than locust. It's a very hot burning wood, so you must be careful if you do stumble across it and use it in your wood cook stove or for heating.
Right.
And also this area here, over on the side here, it has a runoff creek. It doesn't stay full all the time like our creek that we showed you previously, but it does allow for runoff, and it does have water in it occasionally that the animals can utilize, and also it makes for a nice scenery for just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
So this has basically been our tour of our 11-acre homestead. We showed you guys around, tried to give you different angles, and hopefully answered some of the questions that you have about how big our buildings are, how they're built. They're basically just a pole and tin construction. Like most of the barns around here are that type of construction, and it'll be almost similar to you seeing us building the outdoor kitchen. Will be the same kind of a thing, except it won't be totally wrapped in tin, obviously, but the roof will be. But it's the same kind of a premise or idea. So this is Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. I'm Doug.
And I'm Stacy.
And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
See you later. You want to stimulate the seed sprouting.
Right.
So start with warm water.
Oh.
So when you are